Hello, welcome to Module 3 of Public Finance. And today we'll be talking about government revenue. And when we talk about government revenue, we have the following to look into briefly. And we will look into the meaning of government revenue, the sources of government revenue. Majorly, we'll be looking at tax and non-tax aspect of it. We will look into types of taxation, looking at the progressive, proportional, and regressive taxation, and we look at the taxation system across developed and developing country. And that is what we will look into briefly. When we talk about government revenue, it is actually the financial backbone of every state or nation. And it is all the financial resources that are collected by the state to fund its expenditure, maintain institutions, and provide goods and services to citizens. And according to Musgrave 1989, government's revenue can be defined as the funds collected by public authorities through taxation, fees, charges, and other means, which are then used to finance collective needs and public objectives. And it provides the resources needed to fund public goods, deliver essential services, and sustain socio-economic development. And without adequate revenue, government cannot perform key functions like maintaining of law and order, promoting social welfare, and all, or investing in infrastructure. So it's actually a backbone of every state, just like I said when we started. It's actually a backbone. And when we talk about the sources, we have major sources of government revenue, and that's the tax revenue and the non-tax revenue. The tax revenue is a primary and most significant source of government revenue, while the non-tax, this includes income from sources other than taxes, such as fees, fines, licenses, and revenue from state-owned enterprises or government investment. And looking at it, we will need to look at the principles of a good tax system, principles of a good tax system. And the first principle is the principle of equity. We've discussed in last module, so I'll just briefly talk about it also. And the first is equity, where we talk about taxes should be distributed fairly based on the ability to pay. Principle of certainty, dealing with taxpayers should have a clear understanding of what, when, and how much they need to pay. And also convenience, principle of convenience, dealing with the tax system should be easy and convenient for taxpayers. And principle of economy, and for this, the cost of collecting taxes should be low relative to the revenue generated. And types of taxation. The first is the progressive tax. And when we talk about this is higher income earners pay a larger percentage of their income as tax. And this is based on the principle of vertical equity. An example is income tax system with multiple tax brackets. And the main essence is higher income earners pay a larger percentage of their income as tax. And for proportional or flat tax, everyone pays the same percentage of their income, regardless of the amount they earn. So someone earning 30,000 will actually pay, maybe if it's a flat 10% rate on it or 5% rate, everyone pays 5% or 10% on it. And that's no matter how the amount is, whether someone earns 1,000 or someone earns in millions. It's a flat tax system. And the last is the regressive tax. And for this, lower income earners pay a larger percentage of their income as tax. And this is common with taxes on basic goods and services, where lower income households spend a greater proportion of their earnings in order to acquire such. So they need it, everyone needs it, and the taxes are actually paid or paid more by the lower income earners. And these three are the taxes of, types of taxation. And we also have direct and indirect taxation, direct and indirect taxation. And when we talk about direct taxation, it is imposed on an individual or organization with the burden directly on the payer. So if it it's going to it's going to be charged on such an individual or such an organization. And an example of that is the income tax, corporate tax, or property tax. An income tax can be charged on an individual. You have the corporate tax or property tax, which can be charged on organizations. And the administration of direct tax it can be more complex to administer. In administering it, it can be more complex. And under indirect taxes, it's imposed on goods and services, with the burden often shifted to the consumers. It's actually the consumers will have to pay the tax on the goods that have been provided. And it's not going to be the producer now, it will be shifted to the consumer. And example of this is the value added tax, but the sales tax, the tariff on import, and as per the administration, it's easier to collect, and they are often included in the prices of goods as such. The tax system in developed countries or nations. When we talk about developed nations, they typically have sophisticated tax system with strong reliance on direct taxes, especially personal and corporate income taxes. And their high tax to GDP ratio reflects a greater capacity to collect taxes and a public that is more accustomed to paying them. That's on developed nation. However, for the developing nation, they often face challenges with taxation, including a large informal sector, weak administrative capacity, and political resistance to new taxes. And they often have a lower tax to GDP ratio and rely more on indirect taxes and non-tax revenue for natural resources or aid from natural resources or aid. And that's about the developing nations. We have modern challenges in tax policy, and the first one is fiscal competition. And this talks about countries may engage in a race to the bottom by lowering corporate tax rates to attract foreign investment. So the people that are available actually individuals bears it more because there is open opportunity for foreign investment and a lowered corporate tax rates. And another is the digitalization and globalization. This is another modern challenge. And for this, the rise in multinational corporation makes it difficult to tax profits where they are generated, as these companies can easily shift them to lower tax jurisdiction. And lastly, we have the challenge of informal economy. For this, a large informal sector makes it difficult to collect taxes, particularly direct taxes from all significant portion of workforce. In conclusion, government revenue is vital for the effective functioning of a state. The design of a tax system involves a trade-off between equality, efficiency, and simplicity. And comparative study of tax system reveals that each country's approach is shaped by its unique economic structure, institutional capacity, and then political environment. Thank you.